Hello, this is Oliver Blair again from Massey University, and this is the second part of a tutorial series on how to get a model from SketchUp into Revit. So right now we've got a SketchUp model as a family. Let's make a new project, load this family into that project. Okay, so let's go File up here, or this Revit menu, whatever that is, and then we're going to go New Project, and I'm going to pick the architectural template to begin with. We go, okay, and now if we go back to our family, we can just load it directly into this project. So up here there's a little switch windows icon. It's like two sort of windows with arrows switching between them, and a little drop down arrow as well. So what that shows is kind of all of the projects that are open in Revit right now, and it lets us navigate between them. So if I go to Family 3D View, for example, then let's go load into project, and it'll load automatically into that project because that was the only project that was open. But if we had multiple ones open, it would ask us which one. Cool. And I've just clicked where I want it to be. There we go. Now our family is in a Revit project. And this is really important because this is like the best way of getting a SketchUp model into Revit that I've found, where it'll bring everything in and it won't have any weird limits on it or anything like that. Okay, cool. So now let's sort of set up our sheet and add some views to that sheet. So you can sort of see down here on the left there's the project browser, and there's a whole bunch of different views. So there's our 3D view, our elevations, but also if you sort of look, there's sheets, and there's one there already for us, A101. Cool. So this is kind of what we're going to be printing out and giving to our colleague to then build this detail. So we want to think about this sheet being our sort of, this is our project kind of communication. Okay, so let's add a view to the sheet. So up the top here on this context menu there is view, and then there's a button way over here, place view. Click on that. Brings up a list of all the views in our project right now, and also all the schedules and all that. And what we want to do is click on one of them. What I'm going to do to begin with is load in a 3D view. That'll give our colleagues a bit of context, a bit of a sort of three-dimensional understanding of what the hell it is that we're building. And that might be a bit tiny if you sort of think about this being an A3 sheet. Maybe this is a bit too tiny. It's at 1 to 100, so let's scale it up a bit. So all I did there was just click on it. Over here in the properties for that view, scale, I'm going to change that to 1 to 50. Great. So how you can sort of position views, you can click on the actual image and drag it around, and that'll drag the title around as well. Otherwise, if you just want to move the title in relation to that image, you've got to deselect everything, and then you want to click on that title first and click and drag it. I think if you click on it once, you can just click on it once and then move it as well. There we go. Cool. Work. What does that mean? Work. That's the default kind of 3D view title that's given us. Let's change it. How do we change it? We click on the view, and then we can click on the title. Let's go 3D view. There we go. That sort of explains what that is. This is a 3D view of the whole bench, and then what we want to do is probably not make them build this whole thing, because it's going to be A, really expensive, B, take a lot of time, and C, be way too complex. So let's just narrow down a little section, a little detail of this. So this has got, I guess, sort of 3D context view, and then we'll have like a little section of it. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just copy this. So Control C. Oh, can't copy it. That's alright. Let's go back to 3D view. I think if we go to the view tab, we can just make another 3D view. There we go. And it's called it 3D. So, alright, cool. That's alright. Go back to the sheet. Let's add that new one in. 3D. Make sure it's at the same scale. 1:50. Apply. Line that up properly. Line that up properly. And then what we want to do is sort of just crop down this section here to just what we want to build, what we want to construct. So I can double click on this view, and then there should be some crop markers, but there isn't. So let's go over here, crop view, crop region. There we go. So that was just under extents in the 3D view properties, and we can now click on these borders and crop our view to what we want to be building up. So I think we'll just pick this sort of area here. Cool, so that gives still a little bit of context around, and sort of shows what we're going to be focusing on. Great. How do we, here we go, we just click on the view and then we can edit the title. So 3D view of detail. There we go. Something like that. Maybe we can hide those crop markers now. No, actually that looks weird now. I want them back. Okay, so let's just get a bunch more views on, and then we'll figure out if that's too small or looking weird or whatever. We want to change that up a bit. Okay, so we want to get some dimensions now. So we need some sort of flat views. Maybe an elevation might be good. Let's have a look. So I'll just double click, have a look. That one's not really telling us much about that section we picked. Maybe north. There we go. Let's get this sort of section here. So what was that? Elevation north. Okay. What we can do, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. We can just do the same thing that we did on our sheet and crop out sort of a section of that. Or another way to do it is if we go to the north, there's another view type under the view tab here, right next to section. It's called Callout. So it creates a rectangular callout of the current view. So we can sort of zoom in on a section. So let's try that. Callout, and we want to draw a rectangle. So I'm just click and drag around this section. There we go. Cool. And it's given us an elevation north, callout 1. Great. That's exactly what we want. So let's go back to the sheet. And let's go add view, add north callout. Cool, this is perfect. So this is at 1 to 25 as well. Maybe let's amp it up a bit. 1 to 10. That might be a bit better. If this is A3, we want to be able to read it. Okay, let's try this. North 1, callout. Okay, cool. Now let's put some dimensions on it. So to do that, we just double click on the view, and we can go to annotate up here. There's a couple different ways to annotate. So we probably want to measure this, and we want to measure this, but we don't really want to measure this at all, and we don't really want to measure this because this is like a sort of callout. So the dimension doesn't end there. It's just where our view ends. So we want to just dimension up the things that are important. Let's try it. So let's go annotate and aligned dimension. And let's just pick this to here. Great. 200 mils. Perfect. Here to here. There we go. And then probably we also want this dimension though, don't we? That's going to be quite critical. So how big is that? It won't work with the aligned tool because we want to measure sort of from this corner to this line here where nothing's really lining up. So what we want to change from aligned dimension to linear dimension. So let's go, and then it should sort of highlight the corner. There we go. And then we want to go to this point here. Oh, did that let us do it? Nope. Let's try again. From here to here. Oh. Oh wait, it's lining up there, so I don't want to click down here. I want to click on this corner, and then it's really hard to see because it's black. This line's black, but it is sort of highlighting it for us. There we go. Perfect. Well, perfect. It's a good start. Alright, cool. So that's sort of a pretty good start. North call out 1. We kind of want a plan in here to sort of orient this though, don't we? So let's go to our plan. Yeah, I think we do want a plan sort of view here. Let's get another call out. So view, call out. Let's just highlight. So that's 39. Interesting. Let's do it. Let's highlight this sort of section here. Here we go. Level 1 call out. Back to the sheet. Insert the view. Level 1 call out. Okay. And let's just double check that dimension. So annotate. Linear. No, aligned. 239. Why is that so much different? Let's take a look. You can kind of see what's going on here in the SketchUp model pretty easily. They've just mistextured it. And if we go to the Revit 3D view, we can probably see it clearly there as well. There we go, yeah. So that was just a mess up on the texturing. Whoever textured that wasn't me. But let's have a look. If we go back to our North 1 call out. So we don't want this. Okay, so we want to just get rid of this view. Let's delete. And then we want to go to, instead of north, because this is wrong, we want to go, hopefully south is right. Yep, but it's in hidden line mode. I'll change that to consistent. Cool, there we go. That looks a bit better. Let's get a call out of this. So view, call out, highlight this area. Great. Back to here. And let's go insert view, elevation south call out. Great. And change that back to 1 to 10. There we go. Add some dimensions to it again. Annotate linear. So we want to go from this point to this point. 239. Cool. And then aligned. I'll measure this to here. There we go. And also this to here. Cool. Great. And you sort of notice another thing. You can change this really easily with sections, but with elevations it's a bit trickier. So you can sort of see this part here. I don't want that in this view really. This is the backrest. So if I go back to my crop, I could probably just crop it out, but it might look a bit funny. And it also cropped out the dimension then too, which we don't want, but we can just move this all down, hopefully. Doesn't look too bad. Let's just leave it. There we go. Oh, let's take annotation crop off as well. That's what it would have been. Cool. That looks pretty good. And that's basically all the information we want in that view, isn't it? We just want to know it's 200 up there, 200 there, 239, and then maybe this dimension as well. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, and we want another linear from this corner to this corner. 200. Perfect. Okay. And then let's orient that again with our plan view. Yeah, maybe instead of this plan view, well, that can be a call out, but we want like a bigger sort of overview plan, don't we? Let's go back to level 1. Yeah, let's just get this in. So if we go back to here, view, add view, level 1. Whoa, it's massive. It's not really, it's just needs to be cropped. There we go. Okay, cool. So we're starting to sort of build up a bit of a logic here. It's a bit messy still, but maybe this is sort of our overview, and then this can be our more of our detail views. So I'll zoom in here a bit. Okay, so you can sort of see I've gone through and cleaned up a chunk of these detail views and dimensioned up some more things. So I've got my overview sort of 3D view, isometric, and then zoom it in, kind of section of it. Not sure if I need that anymore because I've got this call out now, which sort of indicates where we're actually building. And if you sort of see all of it on a sheet like this, they're all kind of roughly from the same kind of angle, if that makes sense. So we're kind of looking at the front of the bench. We're looking at it from above, but it's still the sort of front of it is, the front of it. And the same with these details as well. That's kind of important if you're trying to communicate something as clearly as you can. So you're not expecting the person to sort of flip the model around in their brain and then sort of figure out, okay, so we're looking at it from this angle and that's sort of how it looks. With this detail, it's a very simple one, so we don't need to do any sort of really crazy angles. So what I'll do next, though, is set up a section, because we need to figure out, how we're going to actually fix these sort of blocks to this concrete. And there's a couple different methods we could do it, and I'll just go through, maybe one of them. So let's do a section, and then we'll put that section down here, and we'll sort of start detailing it up. So I'll go over to the level, what do I called it, plan overview now. Plan overview, and what we want to do is just do a wee section. Actually, maybe we'll go to the call out and do it in here. Yeah, so this is the call out from that other plan. Let's go to view and let's go section, and I'm just going to section straight through the middle of one of these sort of pieces here, and I'll do it roughly sort of in the center of it, in the center of the whole detail. So there's 6 of these blocks. I'll do it on this one here. There we go. I'll start from there and I'll just have it going that way. And you can sort of see the section by default is quite huge. That's fine, doesn't really matter, but I'll just zoom it in a wee bit, just so we're quite focused on what we're sort of drawing up. Okay, that looks pretty good, but this might be a bit confusing. Now this section is kind of saying 580 on it. What does that mean? And actually it's this dimension, so I'll just drag this out a wee bit. That's starting to look a bit better. Might need to move this over. It might be a little bit better. Let's try it overlapping, see if that looks weird. Yep, that looks dumb. So let's put that back. There we go. That should be about right. Cool, so now I've got our section, and that should have generated a section view for us down here. Section, great. So I'll change this back to, no, let's, consistent colors, is that going to work? I'll zoom in a wee bit, I'll crop this up a bit. There we go. Cool. Yep, let's leave the colours on for now. Because what we want to do is start now drawing in, how this is going to attach. Is it going to be like a bolt that's embedded in this concrete, or is it going to be sort of coming underneath and fix a plate underneath? Let's just draw something in. Alright, cool. So to begin with, let's put it on our sheet. So back to our sheet, view, Oh, I should probably save it. Cool. And we want to insert our section. Okay, and it's at 1 to 10, which is good. These are all at 1 to 10. Cool. This is starting to look pretty good. And so this is our elevation of it. And then this is our section. So right now they look like identical. So we need to start putting a fill in or a hatch in and sort of some more detailed sort of section elements. So the bolt that we're cutting through or the plate that we're cutting through. Okay, let's put that in. Okay, so because this is a section, we want to sort of show what the materials are made of. So timber and concrete. So that's pretty easy. So all you do to do that is double click on it to be editing this view, and then it's just up under the annotation tools. Oops, excuse me, there we go. Double click to get that back. We just want to go region, and then we want to make a filled region. So filled region, and there's a bunch of different ways to draw this. You can just draw like a rectangle, but because we've got a funny sort of shape, I want to draw it by line, but we can also draw it by pick lines. So let's try that. Pick lines. So we want that one, this one is going to auto do it for us there. We might need to join that up, and this one and this one. Okay. So line must be a closed loop, and it's sort of highlighting it for us there. So what we want to do then, just do a line, come back and join them together. Cool. And while we're drawing this filled region, you can sort of see what material it's going to be. You can click on this property and it'll drop down some other options for you. Right now it's on concrete, so let's have a look. That's what we want, so let's see what it looks like. There we go. Cool. Great. Got a concrete fill. Perfect. Let's do another one for our timber. So filled region. This is just a rectangle, so I'll just draw a rectangle. Cool. From there to, and I'll just reference that point there. Oh, I might reference it there. There we go. And then change it from concrete to what we want is timber. Is there any timber? Nope. So we can go edit type, and then we want to go duplicate. I want to change this from concrete. Let's just go timber. Nice default kind of timber. Fill pattern. Change that from concrete. It should be. There we go, great. Perfect. Okay, cool. So that's looking pretty good, and you guys will be able to figure out the rest of it on a case-by-case kind of basis. How you actually attach these pieces together, for example, how you draw them in. I can show you how to do that, so let's double click. We can go detail line, and then there's a bunch of different sort of line styles up here in the top right when we're drawing a detail line. Thin lines, blah 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 blah. There we go, medium lines, and that gives us an option to kind of draw in some elements. You know, for example, a bolt or whatever, however you're going to attach that piece to that. Cool. Great. And what's the other thing? Probably some annotations. So adding a piece of text. So again, just double clicking into that view, and then we can add some text. You can sort of see there's the arrows are over here as well, so I want a sort of curvy arrow option, and left align, there we go, yep. So I'll just click there, up there, and then go concrete, well it should be cast concrete section or piece. Here we go. How do we cast concrete piece? and then just click outside of it to get it to stay there. Cool. And why you want to put that text inside that view is because now if I move this view, everything's going to move with it. Whereas if, for example, I wanted to annotate some of this, so I go and get a text element, draw it on, blah blah blah. Now if I move that view, that text element's not associated with that, so it's a bit annoying. And also when I scale it, change the sort of angle and all that sort of stuff, it won't line up either. So it's super important to double click and then add the text note there as well, the annotation. Okay, great. So this is looking pretty good. Okay, another important thing to check is your title block. Make sure that's all set up properly. So right now, if I click on this, I probably should have done this right at the beginning, but you can sort of see it's set up as an A2. So that's fine though, because what we want to do is just load in an A3 title block and then change it to that. So all we need to do is come up here and go open family, and then it's just under title blocks, and then there's A3 metric. Open that. There we go. And you can sort of see again, because it's a family, there's this load into project button. So let's load it into project number 3. That's the one we're working on. Cool. Great. It comes up with a warning, but whatever. And it dumps us into this sort of default plan view. So let's go back to the sheet. Now what we want to do is change that title block. So we've loaded the family into the project, apparently, and now we can change it. So if we go click on the title block and then the properties up here, now there's this other option. Before, when we didn't load the family in for the A3 template, it wasn't there. So make sure you do that first, load that family in, then this option will be here, and you can click on that and it changes to it. Cool. Now it's the right size and we can actually start positioning stuff properly as well, and figuring out if things are too small or too big. But I think it's all going to fit pretty good anyway. Cool. A3. But what is all this stuff? How do we change it? You can click on the title block and there are some options here. You can sort of see. And the other options, like the company name and the project name and all that, are in the project settings. So they are under Manage and then Project Information. And there's some options there that you can change. But maybe we don't want all of these. We don't want all these options. We just sort of want some simple options saying what it is, what paper it's for, basically, and who's it for, who's building it. So to edit a title block, because it's a family, you can just click on it and then go Edit Family. It'll load up this, and then you can select individual elements one by one, or you can select a big chunk of things and delete them all at once, like that, and then just load it back into the project. And when you load it back in, it'll say it's already in there. Do you want to overwrite it? And you just go overwrite the existing, and you'll see it's updated. So there we go. I hope that sort of gives you a brief kind of overview of how you can tackle this, and I'll probably release a couple more video sections going into greater detail on how to do some really specific things. So stay tuned. Cheers. See you next time. Bye bye.